What's up everyone, and welcome back to Fiction TV. So today we're going to talk about The Originals. The Originals is a 2013 drama, supernatural. Currently has 5 seasons, but I will be reviewing season 1. You can watch this on Netflix. Klaus, the original vampire slash werewolf hybrid, returns to New Orleans, which his family helped build, to investigate rumors of a plot against him. In the spin-off of the Vampire Diaries, he finds his former protege, Marcel, gaining powerful over its inhabitants, causing growing tension in the supernatural community. Klaus's brother Elijah joins him, and they learn that werewolf Hayley has fallen into the hands of a defiant witch who has life-changing information. Klaus and Elijah plan to reclaim the city, and while waiting to see if their last remaining sibling, Rebekah, will leave Mystic Falls to join them to form an alliance with the witches to help further their cause. Now, the creator is Julie Plec, Joseph Morgan as klausmikelson, Daniel Gillies as Elijah Michelson, Phoebe Tonkin as Hayley Marshall, Charles Michael Davis as Marcel Gerard, Daniel Campbell as Davina Claire, Claire Holt as Rebekah Michelson, and Leah Pipes as Camille. Let me start off by saying this family, the drama, okay? The drama. The mess. This family is one of the most messiest TV families that I've watched in a very long time since the movie Knives Out. They are so messy. But I'm here for all of it. Messiest, most toxic families on the planet, but we love them. I can't even count on my fingers how many times Klaus betrayed his family, killed them and put them in caskets, did them dirty, deceived them. Yet they still manage to forgive each other and come together and reconnect every single time. Okay, so starting off with Klaus. Klaus is a crybaby. Now, on the Vampire Diaries, if you guys have seen that, I would assume that you guys saw that because this is like the spin-off of the Vampire Diaries. But anyway, so Klaus, on the Vampire Diaries, Klaus was actually kind of bae. Like, I was into Klaus. I was like, yes, he's attractive. And like, he has like that bad boy mystery, but like, he still will whoop anybody on Vampire Diaries. And I was like, yes, who is this guy? Leather jacket, accent, badass. Okay, yes. But when he got on the Originals, I realized that Klaus is just this big baby that just always has tantrums 24/7. And when he can't get his way, he will destroy everything in his path. And he doesn't care who it is. He doesn't care if it's Elijah, Rebekah. Oh, poor Rebekah. He treated her so terribly. But yeah, he just doesn't care. I loved him in Caroline. I loved his bad boy streak. But then the original was like, who is this guy? For example, he comes back to New Orleans. Spoiler alert, if you have not seen this show, I'm about to spoil an episode, like the first episode, so I want to fast forward. But he comes back to New Orleans. He's jealous of Marcel. And he conspires against him, and he basically is like, give me half. If you don't give me half, I'm gonna take the whole thing. Instead of just being happy for him, like, he just was jealous and upset, and like, you help this man and you should be happy that he's thriving right now. But no, not Klaus. Not Klaus. He gotta be the center of attention. He has to have it all, or else. Like I said, let's not forget Rebekah. All the times that Klaus did her so dirty. Oh my god, the beef between those two, heavy. Okay, poor Rebekah, all she wanted was like love and affection, and she wanted like a family from her brother and to feel that love from her brother, and he just was just throwing trash on her left and right. Like, zero F's. And then Elijah, luckily Elijah was always loyal to Klaus, because I feel like he would have nobody if Elijah didn't continue to try, always and forever, over and over. The only person that was like actually able to penetrate Klaus was Camille. She was like the only person that was like getting Klaus to open up, kind of making him be less temperamental and more just like easygoing. I will say that did help with his character development. Also, what helped with his character development was towards like the end of the season when him and Marcel had their moment, and Marcel was like, I'm sorry, I know like your dad, you don't like your dad, and Klaus is just like, I can't do the accent, but Klaus basically was like, you saved my daughter, that means more to me than anything. And I was like, oh, you guys. Then there is Elijah. Elijah has this very posh look to him, and he's very like mature, he's very like classy, sophisticated, very upper class, and he's basically like the father of Klaus and all of his family members and Rebekah. He has a very much old-fashioned way of speaking and the way that he carries himself. I definitely love Elijah in the originals. I feel like he's one of the most prominent characters. And in Vampire Diaries, I wasn't really a fan of him, to be honest, at first. And he looked a little different. But now I'm just like, yes, Elijah. Like, yeah, like, you might be the one. Character is definitely pretty much like stiff, and he stays in character even as a character, which is funny. Like he doesn't really loosen up that much until maybe like the end of the season, and he's always just like kind of stiff and stern, I guess because he feels like he has to be this character. He like walks around like with this fictitious character, and it's kind of hilarious because he never lets his guard down because he probably feels like he can't, but it's kind of humorous. He's upholding like this exterior or something. So the end of the season, he did loosen up and show like some emotion, especially when it came down to Hayley. But it's also funny because Klaus shows the most emotion. It's just very irrational and very crybaby-ish. Which is funny because Klaus is viewed, especially in the beginning, as the villain. Then we have Hayley. Hayley had all the boys come into the yard. Like, my milkshake brings the other boys to the yard. Like, Hayley had every single guy on her spin. She had Elijah. She had Klaus at one point. Then she was having his baby, so you know he was gonna protect her. And she had the wolf boy. Like, line him up. Line him up, for real. Like, okay, we see you. Hayley I did grow to like in this show. You can really hear the actors' accents. It's very strong, especially when she cries in some scenes. Like she has a really distinct accent, which most of them have accents, but it differs from Klaus's accent and the other characters, which I thought was really interesting. Next up we have Marcel. Now, is Marcel not the most charming, fine, good-looking man on the planet? Like, where did they get this man from? Seriously, every time I saw him on TV, I was just like, I can't even think about anything else because I'm just looking at his face and his skin and everything. It's the smile for me. It's a smile for me because every time I look at him on screen, like everything just goes out the window, like all my thoughts, and I'm like, this man is beautiful. Like, what chocolate goddess carved this man? Because do you not see this? Do you not see this? I feel like it's his smile. Like, as soon as he starts smiling, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Like, the charm. He could literally walk around the entire season and not have any lines. And we'd all be wondering, who is that guy? Who is that? Who is that? It's just magic. So Marcel and Klaus, we know, are trauma bonding brothers. We know that they trauma bonded basically and became best friends. I like how Marcel became a natural born leader because of Klaus and how he kind of looked up to him in a fatherly way, and also I feel like in a brotherly way. And I loved how they literally went to war, beat each other up, tried to kill each other, and then they'll shake hands at the end and be like, are we cool? We cool? All right, cool. Sorry I tried to kill you that time. Oh yeah, you did. You definitely did try to like you definitely did bite me in the neck and almost kill you. You definitely did set me up that time, but we good though. We still family. Like, that thing about this show is like, no matter what they do, you can't do anything. There's nothing you can do to not end up being family at the end of the day, even if you try to kill each other. The loyalty. It was so cute to see those two become friends again. Then we have Davina. Davina, we watched her grow. Her character definitely had character development. I mean, in the beginning, she was like this young, naive, innocent girl listening and kind of caged in this box, listening to Marcel. And then she grew up and like really stood in her womanhood, stood in her power. And I was like, yes, Davina, don't let them tell you what to do. And she was like, I'm not taking no more. Like, I got my power. It's on. Then we have Rebekah. Rebekah, like I said, been through so much. It was refreshing to see Rebekah in the end, like, get her freedom, because they was dragging her through the pits of hell, especially Klaus. Like, literally, he had her by a string, and he was just dragging her up and down the street. But I'm hoping to see more excitement, more peace, and more joy in Rebekah's life, and not just her being treated like crap the entire time. Also, poor Tahiri, he deserved better. The way he went out, the way he died, he deserved better. He was really, really loyal to Marcel, and he didn't deserve that. Lastly is Cammy. I actually really like Cammy as a character. She seemed like the more reasonable one. Also, she's the only human, which makes sense. But that scene with her and her uncle, it kind of was like, I get it, but girl, you gotta let him go because he is suffering. Then you brought him back to life for him to suffer even more. It was just like, you should have just let him go the first time, but come on, let him go. Let him have his peace. But I loved how, like, Klaus tries to use, like, his bad boy charm, and then at first she wasn't messing with Marcel either because he tried to use his charm too, and she wasn't with it. She was not with the games. But I love how in the end, like, they both just were, like, into her. Now, as far as the pacing goes, this show is, like, 45 minutes, so it's pretty lengthy, and there's a story happening throughout the episode, so it can become maybe a little slow or uninteresting. But again, there's always action from the beginning to the end, and at the end there's always some sort of cliffhanger. In the beginning of the season, it was about Klaus and his tantrums. Then midway, it was about the witches and the power, Addo's resurrection, and the ending was pulled together with some action in that cliffhanger for season 2. I think if you've seen the Vampire Diaries, you'll enjoy this. If you're into the teen mystical vampire type shows, and you'll be into this. If you're not, then this won't really be your thing. I'll say it's not one of these super in-depth, super great shows. It's pretty regular, but I enjoy it. I like it. I've been watching the Vampire Diaries for a long time, since it first came out. So when this came out, I had to watch this. This is actually my second time rewatching it because I didn't finish it the first time. It actually differs a lot from Vampire Diaries, but it also involves vampires and werewolves. This focuses more on hybrids and werewolves. It involves vampires and witches too, but there's also more, I feel like there's more diversity in this. As far as like background characters go, it seemed like there was more of a diverse cast in this show rather the Vampire Diaries. And lastly, I want to say the setting, the style. I loved everything about the vintage look, the vintage housing, the vintage styled apartments and the lofts, how it's old but very fancy and cool. I even love their basic casual styles. Very classic. Yeah, so anyway, I recommend this show if you're into stuff like this, and subscribe to this channel. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. Be sure to comment below. Let me know what your thoughts about this show. Do you watch the Vampire Diaries? Do you guys want to see a review of the Vampire Diaries? Because I can do that. I think I'm gonna have to be, you know, a little intoxicated to watch that show because Elena be driving me crazy. But I'd be down to review that. Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to hit that notification bell to get notified for future videos. And before I go, be sure to get your copy of my book, Rain. It's a psychological thriller about a group of young adults in a psych ward who have mental illnesses. They get this counselor who's trying to help them, but he ends up getting twisted up in this whole thing, this whole confusion. He starts to learn things about these kids that may not have been truthfully told to him when he signed up for this job. If you're interested in getting a review of this book, you can go check out Voodoo Netflix show Marcel, and if you want a copy, you can hit the link in the description box below. Yeah.